Well, hello everybody, this is Pablo Jasmine Gonzalez. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Sunday, January 15, 2023. And, with all the things that I've been hearing about Wizards of the Coast and the OGL and Open Gaming, OGL, the Open Gaming license issues, I figured I would make a video because, like, I know some people have decided to cancel the D&D Beyond subscription. I never had a D&D Beyond subscription. When I play D&D, I play like I used to play in the before. And I'm talking when I started playing D&D, and this is one of the first games that I ever purchased of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, Cruel Cyclopedia. I got introduced to D&D in high school. I have a video game of Dungeons and Dragons Pool of Radiance back in the early 90s. It was computer. It was a difficult game. I don't think I ever was able to finish it, honestly. But when I got introduced to Dungeons and Dragons in high school, my friends didn't have the book. They never showed me the book. So when I got older, on a trip in 12th grade, my parents took me to we went to Disney, and we stopped at a mall, and I went and found this book, and I purchased it back then. It cost me only $24.95, and it's ever since. The rules encyclopedia has all the rules that you can imagine. I'm going to open it because it's a really interesting game. Like, and this is like what people call the old school game. Like, let me show you a little bit so you can see in here. Like, there's a table in there. Like, you know, like it was not a difficult game. I had the book, and I had the character sheet was in the back. It was a character sheet, and it had the permission to photocopy for personal use only. Like, it had the spell book sheet and everything. Like that stuff. Like, this is classic. So there was attack damage, languages, all the kind. What I love about the game, simplicity. Simplicity. Didn't have to use the internet or anything. Never use the internet. You play with your imagination. You tell a story. You roll the die. You play with your imagination. And I guess that's why a lot of like creative people love using D&D, because the game is simple compared to other games that may have required you. For example, there were games. I remember one game that you have to roll on one table to see if you hit, and then you have to go and find another table to see if you have to attack, and then the other one to see if you can cause damage. And D&D, simplicity. Totally, completely simple. There were extra rules in this book that were present and are present in this book. If you want to, for example, what they call mastery. And this game is, to me, I still have it because I kept it because it's one of the first games RPG games that I purchased, and it was fun for me to play. I didn't have anybody to play. My sister didn't understand it, so I just played by myself. I'm rolling here. Let me troll and see what I find. Oh, I found like one ape, and the ape attacks me, and because I got apparently closer. Let me fight the ape, or let me try to escape. And I'll play like that. Um, and that was the thing. I enjoyed playing there. When I got into college, then I moved into Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Again, there was no need for a computer, so I never got a D&D Beyond subscription, which was of the coast. Otherwise, I would probably have canceled, but I have had no need. Even now online, I play. We use voice chat. We talk online. We use a different program to simulate the dice rolls. But other than that, there has no need for me to use D&D Beyond. I have my character sheet. I printed it, and I had sent it to the dungeon master, and they were the ones that had the information. I have my information at home, and I can still play Dungeons and Dragons without having to incur into another expense. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't join that if they don't they want to. It's a personal decision. I just decided, for me, it's not convenient. because this is what all I needed to play, you know. And again, this game was super simple. There were not many rules and that kind of stuff. Third edition, um, I enjoy playing third edition. Third edition was fun, um, and I totally enjoy playing that game too. You know, I like playing role playing games. Again, it's a story. It's like you have control of the character that you create, and you share a story, and the story pretty much like tells you to you know you create according to a story. It's like when you read a choose your own adventure book. You decide what happened in the story. You control the actions. And I used to read a bunch of like when I was younger. I used to read a bunch of like choose your own adventure games. And so I get that the open gaming license for this is important, especially for third edition, because like it created expanded the different creativity of people, and not only allow other interesting things. And I remember when Forsaken came out, Forsaken, not many people like playing Forsaken. We all some of us jump into Pathfinder, and I have played Pathfinder, and I enjoy playing Pathfinder. Um, and and I had a good time playing Pathfinder, and I love that with Pathfinder they had Adventure Pass that you could do that you could play pretty much like you start purchasing one book once you go to another book, and in all honesty, those were fantastic adventures. That was one adventure that I play, and a friend of mine run the adventure, and I enjoy playing Pathfinder. I got into fifth edition. I bought the original books when they came out. I bought the starter set. I even bought the new starter set too recently, because I still like Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, but Dungeons and Dragons is not the only system out there, and this is the part that I want to get into. As much as I love Dungeons and Dragons, and Dungeons and Dragons have been important to me, you know, Dungeons and Dragons is not the only system out there. I have had through my life, I decided that I wanted to collect role playing games. I have a bunch of role playing games in here. Some of them I got introduced in a certain way, like for example, Star Wars, the role playing game. This one is the Western version of the book. I got introduced to this version in high school. My friend had a copy of the Star Wars, and it had a nice D6 system. That's the reason why I got into this game. And I still haven't played this game, but yeah. Um, I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to show you. I bought this because of the collector's item, but like, look at this beautiful cover. It was the same cover back in the day, and it was this six system. Like it had an interesting mechanic, and it was a very interesting mechanic. Different from D&D, and the game was a lot of fun to play. A lot of people, some people played it in college. I think I played it one time. I tried to play as was it a swashbuckler? I think it was, yeah. And or a bounty hunter. I don't remember what I was playing. A smuggler. I tried to play a smuggler. Um, the first character that I played with my friend in high school was a quixotic Jedi, an old Jedi, pretty much. That was hiding from the Empire, and but the system is what I love. It was a simple system, and I remember they made the D6 system, and it was fun. It was a fun system to play, the D6 system. I know the system for Star Wars is different now, but this like I said, I bought this one because this is a classic, and I wanted to have a copy of it because the game the game was fun to play, and I just enjoyed it, and I have the copy, and I kept it. And again, it's another game that um, it was interesting to see the mechanic. You know, not every game is going to have an answer for everything, and even then, you need to have an idea of what you're going to do. Again, I say Pathfinder, and I have played Pathfinder. I even have Pathfinder Second Edition. I still haven't played Pathfinder Second Edition because I have a life. I have to work. I work 40 hours so that way I can pay my bills, and so I don't. I go to the gym and I have to take care of myself. So I don't have a lot of time to get into a lot of like playing games. Which means also the other thing that sometimes I don't have time to play, and I'm not the only person probably that don't have time. But what I like about the book sometimes is the simplicity. A simple system is fun to play, and at least for me, because then you can focus it more on the story. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy playing Fourth Edition. I played it a few times. I went to the Encounters event, and even though I wasn't quite happy because everything was combat and was more streamlined, of like damage was super gigantic, it almost felt like a video game, a video game of tactics, pretty much. That's what it felt like. I still enjoy playing those encounters, and I still enjoy playing the Andy Fifth. I have enjoyed playing the Andy Fifth. I even played something that I've never played before. I play my most recent character that I have been playing was a druid of the Circle of Fire, and it's been a great experience playing that character. And I enjoy playing the character, and I enjoy learning about spells and all that kind of stuff. Usually, I used to play like monks and fighters, and in the Andy Encyclopedia, there was a mystic. That was one of the first characters that I made for myself at home to play at home, mostly because I was a big fan of martial arts movie. But again, I like the simplicity of some role-playing systems, and that's why I like the Andy Fifth Edition, because the Andy Fifth Edition, after going through Fourth Edition, it kind of like simplify the process better. Yes, there are some feats, but they are not as overpowering as when you look at Pathfinder. Has a bunch of feats, some that comes after Third Edition. This one had a little bit of a feeling of old school gaming, and that's why I enjoy playing the Andy Fifth Edition. I understand that now with the Open Gaming license, a lot of creators are going to be affected, and it's not by all means I'm going to stop playing Dungeons and Dragons because I have the books, and this is the thing. I don't need to pay $9.99 or whatever it costs to have an online subscription. The market for the books, and I get it. That's why every now and then they will make a new edition. Maybe they want to revise something, but that's why every now and then there's a new book that comes in the market, to expand the game, because it's a company. They want to make a profit. A company, any company. If you start a company, you want to make a profit. You want to sell something so you can earn a profit and make a living or pay people. You may have some merchandise that had t-shirts, that the people can buy, and you may get a cut from that because that will generate you an income revenue. We lived in a pretty much we need money for everything, but and with the gaming industry, I understand that's why Wizard of the Coast is doing the different books that come out and all that kind of stuff. But with the Open Gaming license, now they want to control a market. And again, a lot of like creative people, I think they have gone with a D&D with the Open Gaming license because it's a beautiful system and it simplifies it. I'm not saying that it's simple, but it's a very easy mechanic to understand. There are games that are a little bit more complicated. Take for example, if you look at Kevin Simbiera with for example Rifts and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that mechanic sometimes is a little bit more complicated. And I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I purchased it, but the mechanic of the games is a little bit more difficult. With Dungeons and Dragons, the mechanic is a little bit more easier to play. And with Fifth Edition, they kind of went back to give the feeling of what it was before, and it's super simple to play. I want to cast the spell. I cast the spell. Can I cast this damage? That's what I love about the system. And don't get me wrong. Again, there are other games that I can play. You can play like one game that I also thinking about playing is Savage Worlds, and Savage Worlds has published a bunch of supplements to play in fantasy settings. So they're out there, and you can get the books and you can play them. Chaosin 2, which is the publishers of Call of Cthulhu, which also was one of the first games that I played and I got introduced in high school. Unfortunately, not many people like playing the horror genre, and I like the horror genre. There's also GURPS. GURPS is a great system that I used to play when I was in high school. It's already in the 4th edition. And GURPS, the simplicity is like they use D6. It's a bit more complicated, but D&D was a little bit more streamlined, more easier to play. Give me the weapons that I can use, and it's like, okay, I can use this weapon. Okay, perfect. I can use this weapon because I'm a fighter, and I can use this weapon. A certain class will not be able to use those weapons. You were limited on the weapons that you can use, but you have other things that will help you, like spells. And that was the beauty of playing Dungeons and Dragons. It was the simplicity of the game system, you know. And everything that happened didn't need an online presence. You didn't need to have online. And even now, even though I play online, the experience is like I'm using my imagination to imagine what's happening in the game. I don't need to go to D&D Beyond to see a bunch of stuff or to have access to all the resources. I have the books, and I spend money on the books, which is how these companies make money. Like Wizard of the Coast, they publish a new adventure, which is the one of Dragonlance. I've been thinking about getting it because I used to have the Dragonlance supplement, but that's how they make money. They have to publish something new that people will be interested in. I hope that people will buy it and enjoy it, you know. And now it has become a way of like, oh, we have to create a new edition, you know. And then they come up with this OGL, which seems to me onerous because it seems that they're jealous of the fact that other people are making probably more creative and more interesting stuff than they are, you know. And I get it. Critical Role seems to be very. A lot of people seem to like Critical Role. I have to admit, I've not watched Critical Role or purchased any of the products of Critical Role. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have time for that. So, and a lot of people have told me like, oh, you should watch Critical Role. You know, no, I want to play D&D. Well, I want to see other people playing. I mean, I may enjoy it, but at the same time, it's like I would totally like it. And then you have like places like Stranger Things, even Cobra Kai, and even there was a scene in a movie that also have been including Dungeons and Dragons in it. E.T. E.T. The movie E.T. by Steven Spielberg, an old movie. It had people playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons in it. Stranger Things, even though they are saying that they were playing Dungeons and Dragons, it was not Dungeons and Dragons. When you look at the date that the series took place, it was in the 80s. They were playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which is way different from D&D 5th edition that you see today. Now, however, Cobra Kai did have a scene where we find out that one of the characters plays Dungeons and Dragons, and he explains that his character is a monk, and he went to his dojo, and yada yada, and you get the scene where I'm talking about. But yeah, so Dungeons and Dragons have had popularity, so that helps sales make more people more interested in trying to find out how to play and where they can play. But Dungeons and Dragons, the essence of playing Dungeons and Dragons is the books. The books is what all you need to play. You don't need to purchase subscription. You don't need to purchase that. The fact that Hasbro wants to, and I get it, we live in a more technological world, and if for someone like me that has to wait, that sometimes don't have access to people that play Dungeons and Dragons or to a group, playing online is very helpful. And I think the idea of having a subscription for the D&D Beyond and not having people to have a gigantic book collection, because this is what happened to, you know. If I have the books online, that's helpful. I get it why they want to do that, because I don't have to have a gigantic book collection, but I like the books. But the problem is, like, if you watch one of my previous videos, it's like once an edition comes out, a new edition comes in, those books will be obsolete. They will stay. I will have to store them away and get the new ones if I want to play the new game. So it does have the drawbacks of when you have books, but even then, sometimes because of necessity or because of my interest, I have been keeping a copy of this book with me because it brings memories of that, but also it's interesting to look at the rules here and see how different they are from the new book. Like if I have to scan this so that way somebody has it, I could do that. I could totally do that. If somebody wants to have a reference or need a picture of a document, you know, feel free to contact me. I send you the picture, you know, I'm willing to share this for free. Now, ask for money because I want to send anything, but, you know, like there are being things in here, you know, that are very interesting. You know, this is history. This is one of the first books that I had, and I enjoy playing the game. And it's interesting for me to see the classes here and the classes that are now today and how things have changed from this to the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's interesting to see how everything has changed over time. It's interesting what people have created. It's interesting to see the different worlds that people have made. And I love that. And to me, to see the OGL becoming more restrictive, it's just sad. And I still going to play D&D no matter what, because I like playing Dungeons and Dragons. If Wizard of the Coast Evolutionary Edition, I may still buy the book and play it, but I may not invest a lot of money, mostly because it's expensive and I don't have that amount of money. To me, playing role-playing game is about you get the book may have everything, that's it. If you see an adventure or something, and I don't have all the books that Wizard of the Coast have published. I only have purchased certain books that have caught my interest, but I haven't purchased many of the games, many of the books. Like this is one of the books that I purchased, and it was because I I wanted to have it. One of the first worlds that I played when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was Ravenloft. Ravenloft. My first character in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was a paladin in Ravenloft. And I died in a miserable way thanks to the monster called the Carionet. The Carionet is interesting. Um, they have the stats in this game, in this book. And that's why one of the reasons why I purchased this book, because it had that monster, the Carionet. The Carionet is an awful monster. Holy crap. It's so awful. Like, this monster is responsible for my first character getting killed by my party members, because I'm one of those things. Put me unconscious. My body got transferred to it, and I found myself in a different location, trapped in the body of a Carionet. And my character, the other party members didn't know, so I ended up burning the building that I was in, and my character died. And that was sad. That was sad. But I purchased this book because of the ideas that it has to run an adventure if I want to in Ravenloft. And that's why I purchased this book. So yeah, there's always like a way where I'm going to spend money to get what I want. And compared this is only a book. It doesn't have like everything. The bestiary have some bestiary, but it doesn't have everything. Like, doesn't have character creation, everything like the whole encyclopedia. But I did purchase it because of the ideas and the content. I like Ravenloft. I have purchased other, like I said, I've purchased this adventure, one of the first adventure. I purchased it because of I wanted it, and that's why I purchased, because it has some good information for creating more diverse characters. And again, there's always going to be a market for books, and that's the beauty about tabletop RPG game. It doesn't need to be in online. It doesn't has to be online. I prefer to buy the books, and true, you can have the books online, and that's fair, like I said, but like, I prefer to buy the books. I like the books. I use the books. It's different from a video game. Dungeons and Dragons is not a video game. If they are going to want to try to monetize this, I can see an edition every 5 years. They're going to publish a new edition. I get it, but is it necessary? Is it needed? Maybe not. Maybe we need to figure a way of how we can make D&D more interesting. And instead of going the online route and trying to monopolize everything and to prevent content from third-party creators, because the company that is selling these books, they want to get all the money from the customers out there. I mean, it's a free market. If somebody publishes a different game, you're going to be competing against another company that will have a different game, might have different mechanics, but people may purchase it because they like it. And I have purchased other games because I like them. Like, for example, Mutants and Masterminds, Pathfinder. I even have Pathfinder. Star Wars I purchased for the reasons that I mentioned. So like, people are going to choose what they want to purchase because of their likes and dislikes. There's no one way of winning here, But now this situation with the open gaming license is making a lot of people angry that they are going to stop supporting Hasbro. So now Hasbro, Wizard of the Coast, pretty much they kick themselves in the rear end. And it's sad, because I still like Dungeons and Dragons, and I will still play Dungeons and Dragons in the near future, because I like it. Now, do I need to play the new edition that Wizard of the Coast will probably publish? Probably not. And you know why? Because I still have this old books that I purchased before that I can play whatever edition is that I want to play. And if I don't want to play the newest edition because I want to purchase the books and I don't want to give my money to Wizard of the Coast, I can do that. What's Wizard of the Coast going to do? Oh, you cannot play that game at home. Yeah, you don't know where I live. You don't know who I am. And you don't know, you will not stop me from playing with my friends in person at home because that would be ridiculous to do. Um, so yeah. Um, so regardless of what happened, like to me, it's like I feel bad that the open gaming license may end. Um, but I'm looking forward to see what happened with the third party creators. They can publish a game with a different rules to play, and that would be perfectly fine. And there will be people that will support them. If I see something that interests me, I will purchase it. Because I've purchased other RPG games too. And again, Dungeons and Dragons is not the only role playing game in the market. And what Dungeons and Dragons has is not necessarily that people like to play in this world that they created, but the rules can be adapted to anything. I don't remember at one point there was a D20 system. I still have the book for that here somewhere. And you could play Dungeons and Dragons in a modern world. For a while, Dungeons and Dragons Wizard of the Coast had the license for Star Wars. There was a Star Wars that used a D20 to be played. I used to have that book, and I enjoyed it. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. Have created is a system, set of rules. It's a set of system that creates and simulates a game that happens, and mechanics for people to follow to resolve actions and things that people want to do. That's what Wizards of the Coast did. That's what D&D did. But it is not the only game out there, like I said, and the other ways that content creator could come up with their own ideas, which will be interesting to see. But just because Wizard of the Coast think that they want to monetize more, that they have to, I don't know, maybe publish the books online so people have to buy a subscription. It's not going to stop other people that have already purchased some books from playing at home or not even purchasing the online subscription. They can go into a different market again because there's a wide market out there, and they cannot stop content created for other RPG games or other systems because they don't have the power to do that. I think that is ridiculous. And if it goes to court, like I'm sure they will probably end up losing um, with um, regarding of trying to prevent other RPG systems from existing, and that I don't think that happening. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Um, so yeah, and again, I just want to make this video to share my thoughts on this, and I think it's helpful that they want to be restrictive. That's one. Um, I think it's great that they are that 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 other third-party content creators they can create using open gaming license to create their own content because it is fantastic. And once you know how to play Dungeons and Dragons, you can move to that system or the other party created and play that system if you want to. You don't need to. I haven't purchased, like I said, I haven't purchased anything from Critical Role at all. Like seriously, I haven't invested money whatsoever in Critical Role merchandise or books. And I know it's probably great content, but I have not got into that into purchasing their material. I have purchased other stuff, and again, I haven't had enough time to play everything that I have, and that's one of the drawbacks of collecting or liking RPG games because sometimes I buy the book thinking like, oh, I'm going to maybe run this game, and again, it's a market, so people may create a handbook for the player, a handbook for the dungeon master, and adventures. So like, if you want to run a game, you have to have all those other supplements sometimes, just to make the game more interesting. But you don't need to. if I want to run D&D, I could just grab this adventure and play it, and hope that my players follow through and I can finish it. But or I can just from scratch create my adventure, use the monsters that are available in the monsters manual, um, and run my adventure, and but um, to spend money online, I don't like doing that. I haven't had the need for that. I haven't purchased a D&D online Beyond subscription. I never purchased it. I never needed it. I didn't want it to. I didn't have the money to do so before because I was poor, and I didn't have the money now. And while I had the books, and I purchased some books before, um, I purchased the books, and I felt like that was all I needed to play. And little by little, I've been purchasing other stuff, things that caught my attention. Or maybe I like this archetype that is in this book, and that's why probably I purchased the book so I can have that, so I can play that a character that has that characteristic. So again, it's not all the time that I spend money on books, and that's the thing that Wizard of the Coast need to understand. And many people are going to be spending so much money into whatever they publish just because you can publish a lot of books on their the Dungeons and Dragons, and that doesn't guarantee that people are going to purchase everything that you create. Maybe people don't want it, or maybe people don't like it, or maybe people don't have the money. But all in all, even then, if I want to create my own system with a D20 and play at home with my friends as my own system, and come up with my own little rules, I could do that. And there's nothing that Wizard of the Coast can do. And again, it's just a mechanic that we play with D&D, and I understand why we like D&D, and I understand why so many people have got into D&D, because it has a simple mechanic to solve what happened in an adventure, and it's the D20 mechanic. You roll a D20. Yeah, let's see, did I succeed? Yeah, I succeed. So that kind of mechanic, it's something that makes the game simpler, and that's the simplicity of the game. To me as a player, that's something that I enjoy, because there are, like I mentioned, there are other games that they are not quite simple to play. The mechanics of the game of other games can be a little bit difficult. You need something different. It uses a different system, but they're still fun to play. And because it's storytelling. It's just a different system. It's just a different, what kind of stories can you tell with other games, and that's the part that I like about role-playing games. It's about the story that you tell and the mechanics that you use, regardless if it's a D20 or 3D6, like GURPS. It still doesn't matter to me. It's still going to be a fun game to play. It's all about having fun, and it shouldn't be about forcing people to spend a lot of money if they don't have to. It shouldn't be about taking the money for third-party content creators, because I think also that expands the war into something more interesting. Maybe I haven't thought of an idea of how to play, or a world that will be interesting to play or run adventures in, and somebody else did. And I feel like by being open, people can enjoy different experiences in storytelling and all that kind of stuff. Like, for example, like I read the world. Take, for example, this is a book from Teddy Brooks, The Sword of Shannara. Sword of Shannara, you try Dungeons and Dragons, and most fantasy uh, setting takes place before the war was a modern war. Sword of Shannara is an interesting war because it takes place in the future of humanity. So there was a modern war that we live, and then in the future, nuclear wars and pollution destroyed the world, and then magic came back, and then dwarves and people evolve, and so we go back into like the fantasy setting after the world was completely wiped out. Those stories were my favorite, and it's interesting to have a world that is like that, And from a standpoint, I'm surprised that nobody has ever written a game in the world of Shannara. And you know what? If I want to play in the world of Shannara, I could use D&D, because it would be fighters, wizards. Maybe I'll have to change a few things for wizards, but there will be some certain class that the book has that I can say, yeah, you can play that class, or no, you cannot play that class. So I could run a game in the world of Shannara at home, because It's a homebrew. It's something that I'm doing with my friends. If I want to polish something, then I'll have to require to get permission from Terry Brooks and all that kind of stuff. But to play at home, or a story in my own world that take place in the future, I could totally do that. And and at home, I don't have to pay anybody to do that. Um, but that's just an example, like there are certain things that happen. You don't need to monetize everything. That's number one. To have fun playing role-playing games, and not everything needs to be monetized, honestly. Now, if you want to monetize the rules or the editions or the books that you polish, yeah, you can do that, but there's no guarantee that people are going to purchase it, because how many books you are going to polish per year? how many how much money you're going to make people spend on books that they may or may not need, and just because you publish a book doesn't mean that a person is going to purchase it. I think the game market is a weird market, and not everybody is going to be purchasing everything. And even now, I try not to spend a lot of money on RPG games, because number one, like I mentioned, I'm busy with my life. I work 40 hours because I need to make a living. I don't spend a lot of time playing Dungeons and Dragons. I play once in a while, and now that my group is taking a hiatus, is taking a time off, I may have to find a different game to play. I may run some Dungeons and Dragons, I don't know, or I may end up running Pathfinder, or I may end up playing Mutants and Masterminds or Savage Worlds. I don't know yet. But I had the books. I can do whatever I want. I can run whatever I want, and not necessarily has to be Dungeons and Dragons. And with this, I finished my video because I went 30 minutes like about playing and all that kind of stuff. But what makes a game for me happy is like the fact of having a good time with my friends, telling a story, and just having a fun time controlling the actions of that particular character, or controlling the actions of other characters, of what the players do when they are going around exploring, which is way different from playing a video game. In a video game, you don't have the flexibility. Sometimes you have to play a particular character. Like, for example, I've been playing Dragon Quest 11, and in Dragon Quest 11, I don't have control of the character that I play. I cannot design that character. I cannot choose the gender. The other games that are role-playing games too, but they're not. They're more hack and latch. But the one of Dragon Quest 11, what I like, is similar to Dungeons and Dragons, because you get into a turn-based combat system, which is what makes Dungeons and Dragons very interesting. And I think when I see the role-playing games that have turn-based combat system, that's a reminder of Dungeons and Dragons, because that's what Dungeons and Dragons is. It's a turn-based combat system. Either the monster attack first or the monster attack last. And that's what it is. But again, it's a storytelling. You can do more. You can customize your character, and that's what I enjoy about Dungeons and Dragons, is the fact that you can create your character and take it on adventures into fantastical world, regardless whether it's your character is a superhero in a city and fighting crime, or whether it's a warrior living in a world where he has to slay creatures just to survive and protect others from these dangerous creatures that inhabit the world that character lives. Because so yeah, that's all there is that I have to say, and I hope that the situation can be resolved. And I don't know how it's going to be resolved, and I don't know why this is going to end, but I hope that it ends in a good situation for the third party content creators. And I look forward to see what happens in the future of gaming. But as far as I can tell, it's kind of like upsetting that Wizard of the Coast may end up losing sales. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. And as far as me go, I will find a different group to play, maybe D&D or something else. So who knows? Anyway, peace everybody, stay safe, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Bye.